There's some misconceptions that this is a young person's problem, or this is a gay man's problem, or this is a, single young professional in New York's problem. We always kind of think that it's somebody else's problem.
Talking about sexual health isn't exactly a conversation many are itching to have, even with those they know intimately. But STDs are a reality. There are nearly 20 million new sexually transmitted infections every year. According to the CDC, STD rates are at an all-time high in the US. What gives? Well, many people don't get tested at all. But My Lab Box is trying to change that. It's a startup that offers at-home STD testing kits. Laura Ivanova is the co-founder.
So we're sitting here on a bed. Yes. And we're going to talk about something that makes people uncomfortable, sure. STDs. So you set out to build a sexual health startup.
I was catching up with my current co-founder, Ursula, over coffee. We hadn't seen each other for a while, and one thing led to the next. We started talking about dating in LA, and eventually started talking about how uncomfortable it is when you actually like somebody to crack the ice and actually have the conversation about STDs before you get intimate, or even after in some cases.
So what was the specific problem you were trying to solve?
The more we learned about the issue, the more we talked, the more we realized it really came down to normalizing testing and the fact that people just simply weren't testing enough. We realized this really was a delivery issue. So instead of trying to deliver the user to the testing, we decided, let's switch it around.
Customers order My Lab Box online, then send back urine, swab, or blood samples taken at home. At-home collection kits like My Lab Box are not regulated by FDA, but the samples are sent to certified labs. The company says their accuracy rate is on par with the test at the doctor's office. It costs between $79 and $399, depending on which tests you want. That can include chlamydia, herpes, HIV, and extragenital screenings.
There are regulations that exist on the laboratories that provide that testing, and as well as obviously there's regulations that control the management of digital records and the way that patients and customers are being handled as part of services like this. So there's certainly a landscape to navigate.
Is My Lab in any way getting couples to talk more openly, or sexual partners to talk more openly about STDs?
So we're currently working on what we call the Love Box, and this will be testing for couples. We are also working on original ways to share those results outside of printing a PDF or showing them to a partner.
What have been the challenges in creating a company around sexual health?
It took us quite a while until we figured an effective way to start spreading the word about what we're doing. For example, our Twitter account, our ad account got suspended because Twitter considered what we do a sexual type product, and then we explained to them it's actually not, it's a health product, it deals in this space. Yeah. They just kept coming back no matter what we said. So to this day, it's not something we've actually returned to.
And tell me about talking to investors.
The first round of fundraising was full of a lot of interesting conversations, some of them very inappropriate. Especially being two women in a kind of sexual health space.
What kind of inappropriate?
Well, we had all sorts of questions. Which one of us was the slut? That was one of the questions. I mean, it was phrased a little bit more politely, but only slightly more politely. I mean, these are not even questions you would ask in a normal job interview. I mean, they're fairly inappropriate.
Are there people who disagree with this idea of at-home testing for STDs?
Even if there are some preconceived notions like that we realize that they're not really based on anything in reality, and that they're just more about our own kind of shame or embarrassment or discomfort with our own sex life.